So one of my goals for this year is to get the shop a lot more organized, just to get to a point where it's a lot more efficient for me to be out here, especially moving a camera around, possibly a light box with me as well. Having stuff all over the place because I don't have anywhere to put it all, or I have too much stuff in the space, is not very productive, and until that point where I need to do something about it. So when I moved into the shop, I didn't have as much small stuff. I had a bunch more other things, and I kind of worked through cleaning out the shop and making this just a dedicated workshop. So when I first moved here, this was a garage as well as a workshop. And since then I built the shed, and that houses all of the lawn and garden stuff. But prior to that, I had the snowblower and the lawnmower. In here I had rakes and shovels and stuff like that up against the wall behind the jointer. So this video is going to serve as a little bit of an intro to the series I'm going to do for the rest of the year on organizing the shop. And it's also going to serve as a bit of a updated shop tour. Did a shop tour 2 years ago. Not a whole lot has changed as far as layout goes, and I don't plan on changing the layout of the shop at all. I'm really happy with the layout. This has been the same layout that I've had since the day I moved into the shop almost 6 years ago. So everything as far as the overall layout is going to be the same, but a lot of the things around it all is going to change. So I'm not super big on systems, but I'll be using the 5S system to help me organize the organization process. And in this video, we're going to be doing primarily just the first S, which is sort, but we'll also be doing a little bit of set and order as we go. And the set and order process is going to be probably the biggest thing for me. It's going to take me the longest amount of time. It's going to require the most effort because I don't have places for all these things to go. And part of what I'm going to do today is identify those things I need to do, whether it be to build cabinets or some storage spaces or custom storage for whatever, so I can put that on my list of things to do I can work on throughout the year. So if you want to learn more about organizing a shop using the 5S system, I'll leave a link to a video by Steve over at the Down to Earth Woodworker. He went through his shop in extreme detail and went through the whole process over there. I'm not going to be that crazy about it, I don't think, but if you're interested in those applications, definitely check out his videos. I think he did a few videos on the whole thing. So on to the first S, sort. I'm going to be going through and kind of categorizing things and getting them out of the shop. First category is going to be things that I don't need. Either that I can sell or give away, just get them out of here. I don't use them, I don't need them, get rid of them. The other thing is going to be things that I don't need in my shop, things that aren't very commonly used in here. Now that's going to be a bit harder one for a lot of people because they might not have anywhere else to put them. So like if you're a garage woodworker, chances are you share your space with other garagey things, and you might not have the option to get those garagey things out of your garage. So when I built my shed, I got the garagey things out, but I also used the shed as my primary place to store lumber that I have for sale. I have a pallet rack in there, and that's where I have all my lumber for sale. I'm not selling as much lumber as I used to, so what I'm going to do is actually use one of the shelves I would normally have stacked with lumber. That's going to reduce my inventory I can carry by about 400 board feet, but I think that's going to be a better use of the space. I'll have some room up there, one dedicated shelf where I could have whatever I don't want in here, and I can put that all out there in the shed. So over here I have a couple chainsaws, my chainsaw box, and I have some mortar mix and concrete mix from the patio project, which I still have to finish. So the two chainsaws on top of the box are project saws. I bought them with the intention of fixing them up and getting them running again. Haven't gotten around to it. It's been years. I don't think it's going to happen, so I'm going to go ahead and sell these just to get rid of them. The chainsaw box and technically the chainsaws themselves could really go out in the shed because they don't need to be here in the shop. I'm going to put the chainsaw box out there, but the chainsaws, my primary chainsaws, I'm going to keep here in the shop just more for security reasons. The shop is a little more secure than my shed is. And what I'm really looking for is this corner to become my welding corner. I'd like to have my welder over here, probably like a welding table that slides underneath my jointer wing, and I could have the welding stuff on the shelf on the wall here. And that's one way to get everything into one place so that all my welding stuff is right there, and I don't have welding stuff all over the shop. I don't have to go hunting around for whatever welding thing I might happen to need. So now with that stuff out of the way, I can start moving my welding stuff into this corner. And looking at this pile here, there's a few things that can go onto the shed, like my old winch here that I still haven't actually taken a look at to fix, and who knows when I'll do that. So this can go out on the pallet rack in the shed. And this actually gives me a really nice spot to put my winch battery. I'm going to stick this back here, and that'll give me a spot for my chop saw. At least for now. So coming over to this wall, this is kind of where I'm going to start thinking about storage solutions for the future. I put these shelves up, well, like 2.5 years ago. I built them out of what I had. And the issue with building things out of what you have is you build them with what you have, and then you end up with compromises. So, for instance, if I had built a storage cabinet thing for above the jointer here with material, whatever material I actually needed, I would have made this thing almost twice as tall, have twice as much storage space there. Maybe I would have put some doors on it or something, because it is really cluttered. I don't really like the look. This thing hasn't really worked out that well, even though I thought having this little angle thing here would give me some more space. As you can see, it's kind of collected a bunch of junk. So as I'm kind of going through here, I'm not going to worry too much about what's up there right now. One of the biggest things I need to make, and the biggest reason a lot of stuff is out here right now, is when I got my new table saw, I got rid of my old outfeed table, and that outfeed table had a lot of storage in it that all the stuff had to go somewhere. So a lot of the stuff is kind of floating right now until I have the outfeed table, which gives me some more storage for a lot of the small stuff. But as I'm going through this area here and the rest of the shop, I'm going to pull out anything that is part of the sawmill. All the parts for that should be out in the shed. There's no reason for those to be in here. So like up here, I've got an extra sprocket and some more roller chain. That does not need to be in here. This can go out in the shed. And of course, as I'm kind of looking through here, I'm looking at things that I don't really need, I don't use, that I can just get rid of or sell or give away or whatever, just to get it out of here. And the first thing that jumps out to me is this scroll saw. This thing doesn't get used. It's not that great anyway. It's going up for sale. So this goofy angled space really didn't work out that well. And right now it's just all like the extra hardware from the sawmill project. There's some small stuff here and there. As you'll see, hardware is something that I need to find a better solution for. For now though, I have a better idea of how I can better utilize this space. So I'm just gonna dump this stuff down here and worry about it later, I guess. So this might be a good spot for various tools that are in different size cases that I have. Start kind of reverse stacking them with the smallest to the biggest, and maybe they'll fit. Like this, maybe? There. That might actually be a better use of space for the time being. So the chainsaw mill, I'm going to move this outside for now. What I'm going to do with this is break down the mill part and store that out in the shed. The bar will come off the power head, and I'll store those separately here in the shop. Ugh. So that brings me around to this area of the shop around the table saw. So again, outfeed table will be here someday soon I hope, and that'll provide me some more storage. But I also have this whole wall here with nothing on it that I can use for some more storage. I have this small cabinet here for table saw stuff, which works pretty well, but I do have a lot more space for other things. Now, this next part is going to be the biggest win for me, and this is the one thing that I kept coming back to as I thought about the shop, and that's lumber storage. Now, if you've watched my shop tour video and you've seen me kind of around here before, you know that I have long-term lumber storage outside the shop. So therefore, there is absolutely no reason why I should have any lumber in this shop. So what I'm about to do is all the stuff on this shelf here, the full boards I have are up on the top shelf. They can go out into either the shed or into the house with the other lumber that I have in my lumber stash or lumber collection. They don't need to be in here. These shorts down here, they've been here. Like since the day I got here, I have more offcuts and shorts down here underneath the drum sander. I have more offcuts over there, which we'll see in a second. All of the offcuts, they've been sitting here for so long because I've wanted to make something out of them. It's like, it's too nice to throw away, right? Well, I'm not going to make anything with them, so they're going to a new home. They're going to other woodworkers where they can make something out of them, and I can feel good about it. So I mentioned the fact that I was going to be doing this on Wood Talk this week. I already got a bunch of people that want to come by and grab some of the offcuts. So that's kind of nice. I don't have to worry about trying to find people who want them. They're already going to be gone. So ideally with the lumber rack, which should really be up here, and the only reason I should have a lumber rack in the shop is for material for the current project or maybe the upcoming project that's next. It really needs to be something where stuff comes on and off on a regular basis. There's no reason why anything should stay up there for more than a few months, if that's how long it takes me to get through a project. Now I did something similar last summer where I gave away a bunch of offcuts. I also got rid of my plywood storage cart, my sheet goods cart. I built the sheet goods cart back in the day because everyone has a sheet goods cart, because you have to have a sheet goods cart to be a woodworker, right? Well, that thing took up so much space. I had so many sheet goods that I didn't use in years. Like I hadn't touched anything in the sheet goods cart for multiple years. I got rid of it. That was the best decision I've ever made. I kept some of the bigger pieces, like the quarter sheets of MDF. That was, what, 10 months ago? 9 months ago? I haven't touched those sheets, but it's kind of nice to have those sheets there in case I need to make any templates or jigs or anything. They don't take up much space. I have them up against the wall now. That's been really beneficial. So I'm just going to go through things, and the stuff on the table saw was for the current project, so that's going to go up onto the lumber rack as soon as I get that thing cleared off. But I'm going to go through the shop and basically just take out any lumber that's in here right now, and I'm only going to put back what needs to be in here. So my scrap bin is overflowing, and one of the things I do with this stuff is I throw it in some flat rate boxes. People who make smaller projects usually email me and ask me if I have anything I can throw into one of these boxes for them. And I already have some people that want some of this stuff, so I'm going to fill up a few of these boxes so that I have some stuff to send out to them. And it's less stuff for me to burn. So that's kind of a goofy one here. So I think that's probably going to be good for now. I'm going to haul this bin over by the door, so if someone coming by tonight that's going to pick up the other wood wants to take a look through here, they can do that. So I still have a bunch of wood to clear out, and I got to go this way around the shop still, and there's still more wood over here in this corner, so I'm going to go this way, and then we'll go that way. All right, so I have more stuff under the wing of my table saw I can get rid of. Got some maple, I got a stool top, and I have a few goofy things under here. So I have this bin that I made that is full of like the offcuts from making cutting boards, and my plan there was to like have this whole bin where I could like grab a bunch of like offcuts from different ones and make another cutting board, and I don't think that's ever going to happen, so that can go out. This is a box of sample moldings that I have. I think I might find a better spot for these. They don't need to be in that big of a box. Chainsaw chain. That's another thing I gotta do. I gotta figure out a better way to store my chains. You know, it would make sense to put them in my chainsaw box, but that box I carry out with me whenever I go somewhere with my saws. So I want to keep that box as light as possible. So I think I want to find somewhere in the shop or in the shed that would make sense for storing the chains. And here I have some more offcuts that I've been planning to use for, I don't know how old is it. It must have been here for like 5 years. Never touched them. I've got lilac. That's kind of cool, but I don't need any of this stuff. So this is all going to go out. And I don't need this bin anymore either. So that'll leave me with the possibility of some more storage space under the wing of my table saw. I can make some kind of cart or drawer thing or whatever, but that's more space that's been liberated for storage. More wood. This can go out too. And there's a few pieces back in here that I can grab out of here as well. So now before we swing around to that side of the shop, I'm going to work on getting this stuff out of here. These are all little offcuts and things that I thought were interesting, but again, I'm never going to have time or whatever to actually use these for anything. So I am going to put all of this stuff out. Hopefully someone else can make use of it. Now another thing I'm considering as far as organization goes is with this thing. This open stand thing is kind of, it's a terrible, well for me it's pretty terrible because there's not really there's nothing good to put down here, and you have all this space around here that could be used for something else. So I think something I could do in the future is to make an actual cart for the drum sander and just get rid of the stand completely, mount it on top of a cart. I can put some drawers in there and have some actual storage. And the less open shelf space like this I have, the less opportunity for me to clutter stuff up. So here is my tall auxiliary fence for my bandsaw for resawing. Back when I wanted to try resawing for the first time, everything I saw online was like, you needed to make your own auxiliary fence that's nice and tall. You don't need a tall auxiliary fence for resawing unless you're sawing veneer like under 1/8 of an inch thick. I never use that. That's going out. Maybe someone else can use it. And this box here can go in the shed too. This is some extra roller chain that my friend Jim gave me for the sawmill. This is one of the jigs from when I made the spindles for the crib. Don't think I'm ever going to make any more spindles, so this can go out as well. All right, we'll sweep around here now. This is where I've been tossing the offcuts that I've made recently because I knew I was going to be doing this pretty soon. And I figured I might as well just kind of keep it out in the open where it's easy to get to. And this is all the stuff from the overflowing scrap bin. Get this out of here first. I have these chunks of maple from making my son's bed. I think I'll just give these away because I have more if I need it. And I really don't want to store these 18-inch long slabs. Some maple cut-offs from cutting the post to length. Those can go out for somebody. So if we come around the corner here, this back wall, this is eventually where I want to put my miter saw. I want to make a little cart kind of thing, nothing too like super like take up the whole wall kind of deal, just a small cart with some wings for actually having the miter saw set up. Because the miter saw doesn't have a home, it just lives on the floor and I put it up on the bench whenever I need it, which means that I don't use it very often even though I could be using it more. So over here I have the CNC. I've had this thing here for 2 years and I had it somewhat set up back then, but I never actually calibrated it. Moved it around a whole bunch, it came out of calibration. And I haven't gotten around to actually setting it up correctly, but it'd be really nice to have this thing set up and actually working so I can use it every now and then, because I think that'd be a really handy thing to have in the shop, especially for making templates and things for furniture parts. So ideally back here, the CNC would be right here. I like to have it hinged on the wall so I can fold it up and fold it down when it's out of the way. Miter saw here, I've already got the dust collection for that as well, and then the router table and stuff back there. So over here at the router area, one thing that I know I need is some better router bit storage. Right now I keep them on this, I keep most of them on this back shelf in the cases. And one of the things I like about the cases is they have all the information about the bit on there. And a lot of the storage solutions are kind of like the bits are just kind of by themselves, you don't know what's in them. So I kind of think I want to do something where the cases are still there, or something where I have all the details from the cases with the bits. Another thing, the router bits come in with the little sleeves. These might be even worse. They take up less space. All the details are on there, but it's kind of hard to like sort through them and find the one you want, I guess. So coming up here behind the door, I got some more wood here. These are some surface slabs that need to go up on the website for sale. So I will put these inside with all the other stuff that's up for sale on the website. That's not up yet because I haven't done that yet. And then behind the door, I think this is going to be the perfect spot to hang my tracks from my track saw. They have a little hole in them, so I think a nice little like hanger with a few holes to hang those up would be really nice, and to kind of get them out of the way. This would be a good spot for those. Now behind the door here are some things I don't need in the shop. I have a conduit bender and a bunch of splitting wedges. Don't need those in the shop. Those can go out in the shed. That's a pretty easy decision. And then I have all these bowl blanks here. These do not need to be in here. So I got this offcut here, which will make 2 bowls. This is from the farmhouse table. Kind of cool. So back around here is one thing I do want to change, and that's my hardware area. It's, well, my son likes to come out here and pull everything off the shelf and make a mess, but that's another thing. But I don't use a whole lot of hardware, so most of the stuff like I bought one time for like 1 screw or whatever, and they just sit here and never get used. But I know the old man in me will not let me get rid of them all because I know that one day I'll probably need that 1 screw for something. But I do want to find a better solution for this. Now this space is open and it's really accessible, so things that I don't use that often like screws shouldn't really be here because this is occupying a valuable piece of real estate. This should be something that I need on the assembly table. So I have the same setup with the shelves on the other side of the assembly table, and that's where I have my glues and things I use like that over there. So over here, this could be like portable tool storage, or I don't know what else. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but something that's not screws. And I think for me, for as often as I use them, these little bin things aren't all that helpful for me either, because once you put them in here, you don't know what these are necessarily. So I kind of solved that with these, where I cut the label off and put them in the drawer with the nuts here. That kind of helps, but this setup isn't really that great for me. I think I prefer a drawer with all little bins in it that I could just have full of screws and be done with it. As we come around here to the lathe and the turning gear, I have all these turning blanks here, more wood in the shop that's just cluttering things up and doesn't need to be here. So I'm going to get rid of all these blanks, put them out in the shed on the pallet rack. So under the bench, I also have some more turning blanks. These are some of my bigger walnut blanks, and they just kind of add some mass to the bench. I'm not going to take these out of here right now, even though these really shouldn't be in here. I think a much better solution for the workbench would be to have some drawers or some more storage underneath the bench. That's a little bit better than this open shelf kind of thing. But that's another project for the future. So the reason I've been saving these blanks and I haven't turned them yet, well, besides the fact that I haven't gone around to doing it, is I want to use these blanks to try out a coring system. I don't have a coring system, and I think that'd be a really fun thing to have and to try out. The coring system allows you to essentially pull extra bowls out of the blank that would normally just be turned into shavings. There's actually a few different coring systems on the market. If you happen to be a turner and you have a coring system, or you've used a few different coring systems, let me know what you think or which one's the best, I guess, because I'd like to get one. And back here are the failed spindles from the crib. I'll throw these out there. Maybe someone wants these for something. I guess I'm losing my grinder stand. That's all right. There we go. That's better. Nice. That one. And I got these down here. I don't need. Those will go in the free pile, I think. Now, last thing I'm going to mention on this side of the shop is the tool cabinet. Now, this cabinet still is functional. It holds all my tools, but it doesn't really hold them that well. I really outgrew this cabinet a while ago. And one of the things I'm most excited about as far as shop improvements go, but it's probably the least necessary really, is a new tool cabinet. So that one will be happening this year sometime, just to make the tools a little more organized and making the cabinet a little bit nicer to look at. So we've come full circle, and the only thing that I have left in here for lumber is either stuff that is going to be used for an upcoming project. So I have this piece of spalted maple, which can be the drawer fronts for the outfeed table. The only other small pieces of wood that I kept are ones that have like some kind of sentimental value or were given to me that I still want to use for something. So I think this lumber rack, wow, totally forgot what it's called. This lumber rack is going to look quite a bit more bare. So this is what I'm thinking going forward. Current project down here, upcoming up there. I think this is going to work out pretty well. If it doesn't fit those two categories, it doesn't belong in the shop. So let's go take a look outside and see how much stuff I managed to clear out of here. This area here is like a solid pile of shorts, but there's some decent stuff here for another woodworker to make something out of. So that makes me feel pretty good about getting rid of it, because I know it's not just, you know, going to waste, it's going to get used somewhere. And hopefully all this will be gone in about an hour. So it is crazy what a difference one simple change can make. Just the idea of getting lumber out of my shop has made this place just so, it looks kind of like I just moved in, because there isn't really a whole lot of stuff. And the nice thing about that is it kind of makes this whole organization process feel a lot more attainable, and I'm feeling really good about it, because it just looks like there's less here than there ever has been, which is a fantastic feeling. Now I still have a little bit of tidying up to do around here to get things kind of put away somewhere for now until I can come up with some better storage solutions, but man, this is a great space, and it's just so much more open. And there is a noticeable echo in here now with that back wall not dampened by all the lumber back there, but I'm loving the space. There's like room to walk around. I have all this room to like walk out of the garage here without the welder out in the middle here. So this is just, it's just fantastic. And I just feel so great. So still a lot to go with this project, or this ongoing project, I guess. But the first phase is done. The purge is over. So thank you as always for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments on the shop or anything else, please feel free to leave me a comment. As always, I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. And until next time, happy woodworking.